Welcome to CX&Chill, the real, raw customer experience podcast by Exo Studios, the creative arm of XtendApps. Today's host, Diana Castañeda, interviews Juliana Aldana, head of Product LATAM at Mercado Pago. Join us as they delve into the experiences of women in leadership roles in the BPO industry. Together, they share their personal journeys of self-discovery and growth, highlighting the transformative power of knowing who you are. CX&Chill starts now.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching this episode. This time, I'm gonna be your host, Diana Castañeda, and I have the pleasure to introduce one of the biggest leaders. I need to say this cautiously because I was so impressed when I started following her on LinkedIn. At first, we worked at the same company, but we never connected like we're doing today. But she always inspired me on the way that she had done her journey. And then at the end of this episode, you will understand that she didn't believe she was powerful enough to generate fans, inspiration, and followers like me. So I would like to welcome Juliana Aldana. Juliana, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I don't know what to say after the words you just mentioned. I'm just like, okay.
You're very powerful because she is, I mean, you look at her and you're like, oh, yeah, she's simple, she's nice. Like, she's tremendous. She's currently the head of product in Mercado Pago, Mercado Libre, which is like Amazon in LATAM. Like, it's the biggest, largest logistic and delivery company. And her trajectory is not just that. It's like she is also advisor for startups. She's an angel investor. And she has other mystic qualities that we will be exploring there in her hobbies and her personal passion. But she is very strong leader. I would say you're also very results-driven, very passionate about tech, and you have made your way in different companies, different very important companies like that have been growing like huge, tremendously in LATAM. And yeah, let's explore that a bit.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
Juliana, I know that you started all of this journey with Mom, Dad, I'm leaving to Mexico. What was that?
Yeah, so actually, I was born in Colombia, right? And then I was working for the government. And I realized that it was not going to be my path, right? Like when I joined the government, I was like really eager to change the world. I told you that. And then I realized that, okay, this is not the way to change it actually. So I started looking for ways to kind of, leave the country and explore new opportunities. And I don't know, Mexico just happened for me. And, you know, my family, I'm the first one in my family that is living abroad. I was really young. I was 22 years old. So my mom was like, are you already leaving me? And I was like, Mom, I have nothing to do here. I want to, explore the world.
I want to eat the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And that happened. That happened really fast, as I told you. And many people ask me, like, why did you pick Mexico? And I was like, no, I didn't. Mexico picked me,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So in that change that you had in all of these exploratory of leaving my family, the black sheep of the family, right? Like, and especially in LATAM, it's like a very strong thing. Like and for a woman, like leaving your country, doing it on your own, being independent. What happened? Like, how did it go? Where do you work? Why the tech industry? Tell us, how did that evolve?
Yeah, so first of all, I would love to tell you that one of my uncles told me, you're not going to make it. And I was like, why not? Like, you're too attached to your family. And I was like, okay, you'll see. So I just moved out of Colombia with these huge expectations about myself, right? About the things that I was supposed to accomplish. But also the highest motivation to make it happen. So yeah, it started like that, and then also like the tech part. I don't know, like this was luck actually. I didn't say, oh, I want to go to Telefónica Mexico and do these amazing projects back in the day with SMS. I'm so old.
Text messages.
Yeah, text messages. Yeah, I'm so old. but yeah, it just happened for me, and you know what? It was just an opportunity that life presented, and then I took it, and then I just grabbed my bag, and honestly, my motivation was I need to make this happen because there's people that is not believing in me actually. And
And here
yeah,
you are.
and here I am.
There you go. So what are your thoughts about, like, I know you have been like the founder for many projects and expansions, right? So you're very connected to technology, to, well, now these days, of course, to artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, everything that is surrounding us now. From your past, from what you have experienced, like you were saying, I'm in here in Guadalajara. I want, like, I have it in my heart because I launched Uber Eats here. How do you feel about all of the changes, evolution, and what do you think the role of technology these days is representing in these in companies, in the world, in humanity, in the way that consumers approach the day to day?
I truly believe that AI and ChatGPT and all of that stuff is going to make your life easier, right? Like we spend a lot of time, doing Excels and matching this data point with the other data point and looking for the best information sources. And then right now we just have to buy ChatGPT for credits, and then it make that for you. So I'm really hopeful for the things that we can accomplish using correctly the tools. So I do see that this is kind of the a huge wave that is coming, that the only thing that is requiring from us is to learn how to use it, right? Like you need to learn how to use those tools and how to empower your daily work to actually make a difference. If you keep on doing the things that you're doing with the resources that you had 2 years ago, 1 year ago, you're gonna be outdated in like 2 months, right? Like you need to learn. But I'm really hopeful. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that it's changing the way we do things in a day-to-day basis, and it's going to make your life easier at the end of the day.
Right. And I think like most of, like, well, I was never afraid of ChatGPT. I love it. I like it. I like all of these AI and developments that the world are doing. I just think that in general, like technology is just there to help us, as you're saying, right? But it goes to the human. So we go back to what is it that we're using technology for? What do we, how do we take advantage of these things instead of just like pulling them apart or saying, oh, no, this, like, God forbid it, or I'm just going to say like in Spanish, como, ay, Dios nos proteja.
You
Like,
can't be afraid.
Right. So, and it's interesting to know, like, you have had many changes in your career. So in that industry of, and we have to say, like, not many women are there in the leadership. We're usually not seeing, like, we don't know how to make it sometimes, right? Like I was talking with you earlier, and we are like, yeah, we don't get to see the many women. What do you think it's happening, and how do you live it? Like, how was it for you?
So I've had like 2 big realizations in my leadership journey as a woman in those tech companies. So the first one was when I realized that I had to be a man. I have to lead as a man. I have to communicate as a man. I had to do everything as the leaders were doing, and 99% of them were men. So you just need to change yourself. And it was really hard because you realize that then you start being judged by everything. Oh, you're too soft to be a woman. You are too tough. Or maybe you are too a party girl, or maybe you're too shy, or you should talk more, or you should talk less.
Like, there is always something.
There's always something bad. Because of course, if you're trying to be a man, you cannot, because you're a woman. So you have to be a man, but you cannot be because you're a woman. So it's like, so it was a realization in terms of, okay, how can I change myself to get to those leadership positions and try not to lose myself that much? Sadly, I did lose myself, but that's another story. And then, like, the other big realization that I had was like, okay, I told you that when I was at Rappi, which is a huge delivery company here in LATAM, it's a Colombian delivery company, actually. Yay! When I was at Rappi, I was like, oh my God, who am I? Like, everyone is saying, like, you are too results driven, you are too tough, like, why you talk like that? You need to nurture your team more. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm these things, but it's because I've learned that those things are the ones that are going to get you to a leadership position, right? So when I was at Rappi, it was that time when I realized that I was being another person, not myself. and it started the path to actually becoming, or like letting myself be who I really am.
And that's when you ask yourself, who am I?
Exactly. And so at that point I was like, ¿Quién diablo soy yo? Yeah, like, what is going on?
Good. So I definitely agree on that sentiment. Like, I think it's amazing that, like, we can easily connect and see that other women are feeling the same. And it's not like, oh, poor ladies, poor women. No, we just don't want that. But definitely what are the key things do you consider that in the tech world, in the product world, in this scalability, expansion environment, such as the companies that you have worked for and that you work for, are key to help women, and not just women, but many other groups that are part of society, to integrate better and to collaborate better and to be more recognized?
Awesome. That's an amazing question, because I actually participated on an article and they asked me the same question.
I can work for them now.
Yeah.
Kidding.
I'm here. Let's go. So the first thing that I actually told them is, you need to speak up. Especially women, and not like all the minorities have been thought that you need to ask for permission. Just be quiet and then someone is going to give you the opportunity. No, that's bullshit. Like, you need to speak up. You need to raise your hand and say, this is what I want, this is what I think, these are the things that are on my mind. If you don't speak up, no one is going to listen.
Right.
And that is not going to be liked most of the time. What I'm saying is, even when you speak up, there's people that is going to tell you, oh, why did you do that? You shouldn't do it, but you should. You should.
Right.
The second thing is, you need to connect with people. One of the mistakes that I made early in my journey was that it was a lonely path. So I thought that I had to figure out everything by myself. So I didn't ask for help, because of course, you have to do it on your own, because you're strong, because you're a leader. You start putting those high expectations on yourself.
And with all of these profiles in tech,
exactly,
you're like, I am not.
You don't want to be weak, around them.
Right.
So, but that's a mistake. You need to connect, because we are more powerful as a network, right? We are more powerful if you find people that think the same thing that you think, that can share some values, then you can make a change. And the third thing is, try everything, change your plans. Like, sometimes I've seen this in many young women, especially because I also mentor young women, and they're like, oh, by age 25 I'm going to be the president of, I don't know, Google. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you need to try many things, try the things that you think they're good at, and then you're gonna realize that maybe you're not so good at doing those things, and you find another things that you are good at doing, and then you're going to build your path in that way. Do not be so like kind of controller on how the path should look like. Do whatever it is on your mind, and you're gonna learn more, tons.
And I love the way you're going, because it's coming.
Yeah, I know.
So this is how I see it, right? Like, we talk about customer experience, which comes to human experience, right? Which translates into what the heck do we want, right? Like, what is it that, what are our needs, who are we, et cetera, and that's how we get to do our day-to-day lives. So in this, like, sometimes toxic, you call them like toxic job relationships that help you understand who you were and what others might need, and then you integrate that into your work. There was a mystic Juliana, right? Like, something appeared, and then you also said, and I want you to share that story to me and to us, to everybody, and tell us, how did that happen? How did that, like, for someone who's so driven into results, processes, like, oh, very pragmatic, very analytic.
Crazy.
Very, like, they call us crazy. But yeah, we're crazy and emotional.
Passionate.
Like, because passion, it's what drives us. But how did that work with finding yourself? And then whatever you're going to tell us, you're going to find out what it is. But specifically what you found out that help you integrating that into your work, like help you promoting yourself, like to the point that you said, I have no more space for conferences, I have no more space for this, I have no time, like the world conspire, the universe conspire to bring me in abundance. So tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, so no, but I need to start when I joined Rappi. So it was like a month before the pandemic, right? And I joined Rappi because, I'm from Colombia, so it was my opportunity to give back to my country in some way, because I've been here in Mexico for 8 years. So I was like, yeah, this is my time to shine. No?
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit. So I started working, 16 hours a day, because I was bringing restaurants. So imagine the pandemic, every restaurant in Latin America was trying to join. So it was a really hard time for me, because I was like, is this really what I want to do? Because I was in my house with my husband. I was just working, sleeping, eating, working, sleeping, eating, like repeat, like for 6 months, nonstop. And I was like, is this really who I am? Is this really the person that I worked so hard for 8-9 years to become? And it's like, is that really it? Yes. And then I started to say, okay, to ask myself, okay, who am I when I'm not working? Who am I if someone asks, who are you? And I'm like, I'm not gonna say where I work at. And I was like, I have no idea. I'm gonna say Juliana, 32. Like that's it.
Next.
Because I have built my personality towards my job, towards the things that I was doing, that I was good at, but in terms of like my professional life. So I was like, no, this is not something that I want to, keep on doing. I want to find who am I. I want to, but I really don't like saying I want to find myself, because that is really, Pinterest, Instagram,
Está quemado.
love yourself, super quemado, trilladísimo. I'm like, I started a journey of letting me be myself, of allowing me be myself, because for me, not working was not allowed,
It was not optional.
It was not an option.
Yeah.
It was not an option to be successful at your job, or to be your job, actually. So I started doing yoga. Right now, I'm a lover. Like, I love yoga with all my heart. Everyone should do yoga tomorrow. Like,
We're doing yoga.
Tomorrow, let's do it. Let's do a chaturanga here right now.
Okay.
And I discovered a lot about myself. For example, yoga has allowed me to enjoy the process, because even though I'm strong, I've always done like some kind of exercise in my life. It's not easy to do all the postures. It's not easy to, be in a handstand. You have to try, and you have to build the strength, the right strength. So yoga has allowed me to enjoy the process and to actually be compassionate about myself. And I didn't do that before that. So yoga for me was kind of, the gate that allowed me to explore new ways of knowing and letting me be myself. And then the mystic part, right? Because it was not like out of the blue. Of course, yoga is a very spiritual thing, right? So it started, I love chanting mantras. It's something that I really recommend as well. Let's do a mantra right now. Yeah, they're amazing. I can send you a playlist.
I want it.
So I found that the astrology. I found astrology, and I found that astrology was a way to get better. It's not a way, and please don't turn off the podcast. Don't change it. I'm going to say something important. Astrology is not something that is going to tell you your future. It's not something that is going to tell you tomorrow you're going to die, or tomorrow you're going to meet your new husband or wife. Astrology is a way to get to know you better, to understand what gifts do you have, to understand potential difficulties that you could have in your life. For example, maybe some people are more eager to travel, like yourself. Like they're going to be very lucky if they go out of the country. Or maybe you are someone that has tons of luck if you stay at home and build a family with 5 kids, right? Those are the things that astrology help you. So during the pandemic and after, asking myself all of those things and yoga, I discovered astrology and I started studying astrology. Yes, I did. So, and then I found that astrology, that my natal chart was amazing and actually, I don't know, helped me to understand a lot of things and also helped me to understand why I was so focused on being so successful all the time.
So you told me that you discover the natural way of having and receiving things, and it is impacted in your work, in your life. It helped you be like to become. It helped you becoming a better leader too. And what was that about? Like abundance, giving, not giving. What did it? What how? Just walk us through. Can't even.
Yeah, so um, basically, TLDR, you're not gonna receive if you're not willing to give. And you need to start giving in order to receive more, right? So that is abundance. Like you cannot say, oh, I want this and that. Can you connect me with this person, with that person? I want to be a millionaire, if you don't start being that person for others and for yourself, right? This sounds easy, but I was telling you that not a lot of people is willing to do that. Not a lot of people is willing to give before receiving. And that for me is not only part of the astrology because I found that in my natal chart, but this is a really key part of my personal and professional journey. Starting as a mentor and advisor and all the opportunities that I've had, also being an angel investor, have born because I started giving my time for free to many people to learn from me, right? So for me, and then when I meet new people, they're always asking things from me. And can you introduce me to this person? Can you open this door for me? Like they're always asking a lot of things from me, but then they're never asking, okay, how can I help you? And I do need help. So this is a key part of my journey, but I found that in astrology, abundance is something that you need to work on. It's not something that you're just lucky because, you was born in, April 21st, which is my birthday, but no, it's something that you need to work really hard to get. And then once you open that door, then it's going to, the magic is going to come to your life. Because when I started giving, as I was telling you, and when I started like kind of, okay, I need to help people on not making the same mistakes that I've made during Rappi and Uber, for example, then I started being invited to conferences, to give some lectures, to be a mentor of 20 different startups at the same time. And then after 8 months, I actually had to stop because I was getting so many requests from so many people that it was like, I cannot handle this anymore. And also another thing that you can learn from abundance is you need to manage it. Because if not, it's just gonna blow your mind and your life up.
Yeah, that's deep.
That's deep, yeah, because sometimes, I want to be this abundant being, blah, blah, blah. But then how can you handle it? How can you actually enjoy it and live a life that is balanced enough that you can, enjoy it? You need to enjoy the abundance. If not, it's just going to be another work,
Right.
another thing to be working on.
Right. But I think from this experience, having different tools, different type of things. Yes, we work in tech, we work in, we love, I don't know, I love everything that simplifies my life with technology, with, with any new development, AI, just name it, but I don't lose my essence to that.
Yeah.
And that means that I recognize myself and I want to understand more of that because that will allow me to treat others better, to do my job better. When I need to meet someone, my new role, understand what my client wants.
Exactly.
And if I don't understand it, if I don't even know how to read myself, how am I going to read someone else?
Exactly.
And then, there are many masks, there are many things, things that we don't want to say, things that we don't even know. And that's how the world operates. And the more that you understand it, the more pro that you will become at helping, servicing, and excelling in your career. Because we need it. It's a fact. It's not I'm going to live out of charity. No, but it's connected.
Yeah, self-awareness to me is the first thing that makes a good manager. And you do you. You can be self-aware through psychology, through, I don't know, yoga, through astrology, whatever you want.
Right.
But use something that allows you to get to know you better and allows you to be the truest self version of yourself.
Stick to yourself.
Exactly. Because if not, how are you going to not only help your customers, but help your team to become the best version of themselves if you don't know yourself?
Right.
You don't allow yourself to be your best version. And you have to accept that. You know, this is something important. When I started studying astrology, because I did study, yes, I didn't like that people knew about this journey that I was starting. I only told very few people that I was taking astrology courses, because to me it was like, how this Juliana, very
taboo, yeah,
exactly, like super pragmatic, super successful, whatever, then is going to be an astrologer. Like, how is this going to be mixed? And you know, it took me a lot of time, almost a year, to actually start sharing with my friends, like with my true friends, that I was doing this. So I think one of the biggest things that happened to me in the last year was that actually I allowed myself to, you know, yeah, I like astrology. And I actually said that on meetings with my team right now. That I like it. Like, what is your star sign? Oh, yeah. Taurus, I like it. Oh, Virgo, I don't.
Thank you. So, Juli, now we're finishing, but I have a very important question. Here in XO, we love to stay wild. So I want you to take a deep breath and tell me, in your perfect mix of astrologist with a strong, independent, empowering woman, how do you stay wild?
Try everything at least once in your life. Everything. That's my policy. Like, that's something that I will do everything at least once in my lifetime.
We'll test that later on. Thank you very
much.
Thanks, Juli, once again for being with us. It was really, really an honor for me to have you in person, to conduct these. And for everyone who's watching, please share, just give your thoughts, put a comment. You know, likes are for free. But thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next episode.
And that's our show. CX&Chill is a production of XO Studios, the creative marketing arm of XtendOps. With today's host, Juliana Castañeda, executive producer Sean McCreary, producers David Spear, Felicia Coronado, and Memo Devalos, editors and videographers Santiago Aguirre, Alfonso Ramirez, graphic support from Jordan Madrid, and social media guru Claudia Corona.